Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you would please remain standing as we recognize those that have given their service and their lives to this country, overseas and here at home, and also in our own community, Cecilia Monroe. Thank you. All right, we have a couple special guests tonight. So before we open the public hearing, I would like to invite up the Cross family at this point. This is Danny Cross and her parents. Danny is a Girl Scout who has just received the Gold Award, which is one of the highest awards in Girl Scouts. And she received it by doing a phenomenal thing, in my opinion, on her own, with, of course, the assistance of her parents, but really driven. She's so driven, she went ahead and took it on herself to revitalize and repair the double park at Sacred Heart. There's actually two playgrounds at Sacred Heart that are connected. And Danny not only got a group of her friends together to help her, a group of cadets, and a group of adults, about 30 people-ish, for multiple days. And it wasn't just picking up some weeds. They weeded. She called Home Depot. She called, who else? Tony Monaco. They did the entire beds of mulch, remulched the entire playground, which was a lot. Redid fencing. Actually, there was a crack in one of the larger slides. Raised the money, or actually it was under warranty, right?
We found out it was under warranty.
They raised the money, then they found out it was under warranty, so they spent that money making more improvements. So, unlike other people that might have just said, let's pay for it, actually researched the fact, made sure that got the best buy for the park. Again, the people came back 2, 3, 4 days working on this park. And if you get a chance, is it on YouTube or something? Because the video is great with the putting the slide up. I thought that was awesome. But if you get a chance, check it out, because the reason why we have Danny tonight, she achieved her Gold Award. They had a great ceremony at Sacred Heart where they recognized that, but there were only about 40 people, and then a lot more obvious at the main thing. The bottom line is, Danny's an example that needs to be put out to our community. Danny is who we want our children to emulate and to try and be like. And that's why I invite her here to the village meeting, so that more people, mainly through the camera, through the community, we can show who we have in our community. So, and we'd also like to present Danny with an Outstanding Citizen Award, presented to Danielle Cross on your achievement of the Girl Scouts Gold Award for going above and beyond to better our community, especially by revitalizing and repairing the playground at Sacred Heart. You are truly an example for people to follow. Awarded this day, 16th of May, 2016. I won't tell you how much work their parents did, because John was pulled into so many things. So I'm going to give you that. We'll do that for Mary Jane. Thank you. I'm actually going to put this one second. I'll give it to you in 1 second. That's how it's. Yes. Thank you. Gina actually reminded me to sign that earlier. And I'm going to give you one more time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Nice job. We have more and more guests. At this time, I'd like to invite up Dr. Sheboy and Gus Kutsaratus. Dr. Sheboy is our superintendent of schools, and Gus is on the school board, and we are very happy to hear from them tonight.
First, I want to thank Mayor Flynn as well as the village board for allowing us to come and address the community a little bit about our school budget. As the community is aware, our budget vote is tomorrow. We have a $28.5 million budget proposed, and I'll talk about that in a minute. We also have two candidates. We have 5 candidates for 2 seats on the school board as well. We presented a budget to the board starting in January, and we worked on that budget, hoping to get more state aid as the state government kept coming out with their proposals, both the governor's proposal and ultimately the adopted budget. I met with Assemblyman Skoufis and Senator Larkin to try again to advocate for more aid, and most of the aid came through to the small cities of Orange County instead of to the small towns. That being said, we sharpened our pencils and were able to produce a budget that calls for a 1.31% spending increase from year to year, which is a very lean and responsible budget. It does call for a 3.34% increase in the tax levy and represents about a $360,000 budget-to-budget increase. The major drivers of that budget are escalating health care, as we're all aware. That's every municipality is dealing with that. We had about a 5% increase in premiums this year. We were able to pare that down so that ultimately it impacted our budget much less than that, but it's still a factor we have to deal with. Again, our impact aid is flat. It has been flat and will continue to be flat for the next 3 to 5 years, and that's a sizable portion of our revenue. The only new things in this budget, this is generally what we would call a rollover budget, but the only new things are that we have a new clerical assistant, a new secretary slated for the intermediate school. Currently, there's 1 full-time secretary for the main office. Makes it very difficult for the teachers to get messages, for the principals to get messages, for the guidance to get messages, and to do the work for the children. We have a part-time contracted athletic trainer that would be available only at home contests in case of injuries to our student athletes. Most school districts already have athletic trainers. We have EMTs only for football, and we do have a number of injuries each year in having a part-time contracted athletic trainer. And I stress that because we don't want to pay the legacy costs on an employee. So we will contract through an orthopedics firm. And then the last one is increasing our speech services. We have about 170 children currently being serviced by 1.4 speech teachers, and we're not providing the level of service that we should be, to be honest. So we're increasing that to 2.0, so it's an increase of 0.6. The estimated impact on a house valued at $230,000 is about $134 in increased taxes, based on the assessments, of course. But with the new property tax relief credit that was passed last spring in 2015, taxpayers who have income less than $275,000 would receive a credit back of $130. So the real increase on somebody whose income level is less than $275,000 for a family would be $4 difference. If we, for some reason, see a budget that goes down, we would be forced to go to what is known as a contingent budget, and that would necessitate cutting about $340,000 additional from the budget. And as we had already cut things out of our budget when we didn't get increased foundation aid, that would, in all likelihood, result in program cuts. Our goal was not to cut program, but that's where we are. And I just wanted to thank Mayor Flynn as well as the village board. This is our 5th community presentation in the past 2 weeks. I think we have one more scheduled for tomorrow. But I do appreciate the opportunity to come out. I know that people's schedules sometimes preclude them from attending our meetings, but I do appreciate the opportunity and would welcome, if it's okay, any questions from anybody in the audience.
I like to say it's a very tight budget, and I think the community will be very pleased with the programs that we have. And come all, vote just once tomorrow, between 6 and 9.
6 and 9. At the intermediate school.
Yes. That's it.
Chief?
Craig, you had highlighted that you didn't cut any programs, but you also didn't create any new programs.
That's
right?
correct.
So you guys are holding on.
This is what we would call a rollover budget, yes. Yep. Again, I thank everyone. I do have to leave. We're having a stargazing event, so if the
Nice.
village board gets out in time at 8:30 at James I. O'Neill as part of community outreach, we have a stargazing where we look up and see the stars. Teacher volunteers are coordinating that, so certainly if you get out in time and it's dark, we'll be out there with telescopes. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheboy. Thank you, Mr. Kutsaratus. And I've, being on the board, being on the school board, and over these many years, seeing other boards, I have to commend you for taking such an effort to inform the community about the budget. The signs are out, you're making presentations, you want as much input as possible in the school voting, so I thank you. All right. Do you have the sheet? Anybody who wants to speak during the public hearing at this time, I'd like to, I need a motion to open up the public hearing.
Motion,
Charlie?
motion
Do I
to
have a
open.
second?
Second.
All's in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is open. And we will start with Mr. Byron.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, board members. My name is,
Oh, yes, I apologize. Thank you very much, Byron.
Byron, can you just turn that microphone back
And actually, yep, I'm sorry, but you are going to turn that around for yourself anyway when it comes. I apologize. We're going to read the resolution real quick before we start discussion.
I'm going to read this resolution into the record. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls finds and determines that it is essential to good government, to the protection of its inhabitants and the property within the village, to the preservation of peace and good order, to the suppression of vice, to the protection and preservation of public works, and of the general safety, health, comfort, and welfare of the inhabitants of the village, that police protection be maintained at a high standard of excellence throughout the village. The village has long maintained its own police department, deeming that such ends are thereby better served, and whereas, to ensure the provision of police protection needed to promote the general welfare of the village, to achieve the economics needed to justify the continuation of a police department operated by the village, to further the modernization of its police methods and concepts, to improve and continue the coordination of procedures and methods of the police department of the village, and whereas pursuant to Village Law 4-400 and 4-412, the mayor and 2 trustees currently act as police commissioners, and whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that it is necessary to the continued betterment of the police department to establish a separate Board of Police Commissioners, to assist in the formation of policy, to make recommendations as to the means by which economies can be achieved and methods can be improved, and to ensure that any new police policies formulated and new methods are immediately carried out and employed by the police department. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the authority vested in the Board of Trustees under Village Law 3-3082, a separate Board of Police Commissioners is hereby established in the Village of Highland Falls as set forth herein. Appointment of commissioners, residency requirements. The commission shall consist of 3 members appointed by the mayor upon approval of the Board of Trustees, notwithstanding any other provision of law to the contrary in lieu of any other resident requirements imposed by law. Any member of the Board of Police Commissioners may reside within Orange County, State of New York, or in any county within the State of New York contiguous to Orange County. Qualifications. 1 or more members of the Board of Police Commissioners shall be a person or persons with at least 10 years of professional police experience. The chairman of the Board of Commissioners shall be appointed by the mayor upon approval of the Board of Trustees and shall be chosen from among the commissioners who have at least 10 years of professional police experience. Term of office. Each police commissioner shall hold the position for a term of 3 years from the date of appointment, provided, however, that the first term of the first appointed police commissioner shall expire on the date of the annual reorganization meeting 2017. The first term of the second appointed police commissioner shall expire on the date of the annual reorganization meeting 2018. And the first term of the third appointed police commissioner shall expire on the date of the annual reorganization meeting 2019. Thereafter, each term shall be for a period of 3 years from the date of the annual reorganization meeting. Compensation. The annual hours and compensation of the chairman of the Board of Police Commissioners shall be determined by resolution of the Board of Trustees. The other 2 members of the Board of Police Commissioners shall serve without compensation, except for a stipend determined by resolution of the Board of Trustees. All expenses related to duties as commissioners shall be reimbursed by the village upon timely presentation of a voucher thereto. Powers and duties. The Board of Police Commissioners is hereby authorized and empowered: 1. Notwithstanding the provisions of Village Law 8-800 and 8-804, to promulgate rules and regulations governing the operation of the police department of the village, and to recommend such other rules and regulations applicable to other departments as shall be necessary or desirable for the public safety and welfare, subject, however, to the prior approval of the mayor and the Board of Trustees of any such rules and regulations. Notwithstanding the provisions of Village Law 8804, to supervise, control, and direct the conduct of the members of the police department of the village in all matters relative to the operation of such department, including the appointment, promotion, change in status, and removal of said members, subject, however, to any collective bargaining contract then in place or applicable procedures set forth in Section 75 of the Civil Service Law. To prepare and submit from time to time fiscal reports relative to the operation of the police department, and to recommend to the mayor and the Board of Trustees such changes in the methods, practices, and procedures involved in the operation of the department, and in the procurement of equipment necessary or desirable to promote modernization of the department, all consistent with its efficient operation. 4. To promote cooperation between the police department of the village and that of the town of Highlands, to remain abreast of modern-day developments in the area of law enforcement in the United States, to recommend the introduction of changes of methods, procedures, and equipment, to seek out federal and state funds which may be used by the village to improve police procedures and operations within the village. 5. To do all such things necessary and desirable to promote the achievement of the ends and policies set forth herein. Excuse me. 6. The mayor shall continue to exercise his authority pursuant to Village Law 4-401B and 1E over the Board of Commissioners so long as the board shall be in existence. Procedure for meetings. 1. The chairman shall preside at the meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners. 2. A majority of the Board of Police Commissioners shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, but a lesser number may adjourn. 3. No action may be taken except by concurring vote of a majority of the police commissioners. Duties of the chairman. The duties of the chairman of the Board of Police Commissioners shall be: 1. To preside at the meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners, and he may have a vote upon all matters and questions coming before the board, and he shall vote in case of a tie. However, on all matters and questions, he shall vote only in his capacity as chairman, and his vote shall be considered as one vote. 2. To supervise, control, and direct the day-to-day conduct of the chief of police and members of the village police department and all other routine matters relative to the operation of such department between board meetings, subject, however, to the mayor's authority pursuant to Village Law 4-401B and 1E. 3. To act as liaison on a routine basis on behalf of the chief of police and police department with the mayor and the Board of Trustees. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Byron.
Thank you. I will turn the microphone. And it will turn back. Hey, what kind of trick is this? Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. My name is Keith Byron. I'm retained counsel for NYSUPA, where the bargaining agent for your police department, and I was provided with a copy of the proposed resolution this morning, and had an opportunity to read it. I have a few questions, and I do know that I have a 3-minute limit here, so I have reduced these questions to writing. Although I had not anticipated I'd be providing them to you, I'm going to do so please excuse the typos and the poor formatting because I'm my own secretary. Again, as you may know, we're in collective bargaining with you guys. We're looking for a new contract, and we have some concerns on how this would impact negotiations, amongst other things. Some of the questions that we have is, has the village board determined what the compensation will be for the chairman of the board, or the stipend to be paid to the other commissioners on the board? Because I do understand that your fiscal year is beginning in June. You have an adopted budget, so we're just looking for information with respect to that. Another question that we have, I don't know if you can answer these, but since I only have 3 minutes, I'm doing the best I can. I'm dancing as quickly as I can. We don't know how often this board will meet, whether the meetings will be subject to the open meetings law. Are minutes going to be taken of those meetings? The authority of this board to act has to come from somewhere, and we're interested in knowing whether the authority is being delegated from the village board, whether it's being delegated from the mayor, or if not, where this authority, the authority to actually act, comes from, since, as you know, the village law is silent on what the authority of this board will be. We have an interest in knowing what the role of the office of mayor would be, not necessarily Mayor Flynn, but the office, because the office of mayor serves as an ex officio member of that board, and it's unclear from reading this whether the ex officio member would be a voting member, whether the ex officio member receives a stipend in accordance with the other provisions contained in the resolution. And we don't know if the ex officio member, the office of mayor, has full voting rights under that. And I do note that the resolution calls for the mayor's supervision of the board itself, but does not discuss the mayor's continued supervision of the police department in general. So I'm just wondering if that was the intent of the resolution, or whether that's an oversight, or whether I'm missing something in your resolution. I do have copies, again, if you'll excuse the typos and the poor formatting, to provide to you. If you like, I can give it to either the clerk or council. And with a couple of my cards, so that you know where to send the responses.
I have.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Frank Schmidt?
Good evening. My name's Frank Schmidt. I live in the village of Highland Falls at 1 Hudson Drive. I was at your meeting, Mr. Mayor, back on April the 4th, where the village reorganized, and as I recall, you appointed yourself the police commissioner, Anthony Farina, the police liaison, and Brian Atwood, our deputy police commissioner. I was rather surprised to read in the paper and to be here 6 weeks later trying to understand why it is that we need to create a separate board of police commissioners. So I really only have 4 questions. Why, after 110 years, do we need a separate board of police commissioners? That's one. Number 2, since we now have a new budget, I'd like Mr. Magrita to share, our treasurer, I'm sorry, to share with us the compensation that was planned for this new position. I'd like to recommend, thirdly, that the residency requirements be the town of Highlands. Since the people that we currently have on the board have to be at least in the village, it seems to me there's a big enough population in the town of Highlands to appoint a police commissioner and group that represents the town of Highlands or the village of Highland Falls. And fourth, I'd like to invite Chief Scott to share his thoughts on this matter. I'd like to know how he feels about this new day-to-day supervision he apparently needs. So if you could share your thoughts on this, at my request. Thank you.
Joan Cronin? Jimmy Ramus?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, village trustees. So I have a couple of questions. Obviously, I was at the previous meeting, and I heard about the police commission, and, looking at this, it says public resolution to establish a board of commissioners, doesn't say police commissioner. I was just wondering why that says that on your minutes.
It's a Board of Commissioners.
It says board of commissioners, it doesn't say police commissioners.
It's not a police commissioner, it's a board.
So, okay, so, all right, but is it a commission to oversee the police department, not the other departments?
What other departments?
I.e. the water department, fire
No.
department?
No.
DPW? All right, so now I also have some questions penned out really quick, and I will submit them to the board members and to the attorney and the village clerk to put in the minutes. So obviously, my first question was, when did you guys start discussing the concept of having a police commission? The next one would be, and it just piggybacks on what I just said, does the village board anticipate having a commission for any other departments, as in the fire, water, sewer, DPW? Just based on why you want to do this for the police department. And I'll get on to that a little bit later. So I was reviewing the budget, which I have right here. And again, I did not see a line item for a police commission, because that's what this is going to be, in there. So I was just hoping somebody could show me, I could have missed it. I mean, it's a big budget and you guys worked hard on it. So I was wondering if somebody could show me where the money is allocated in the budget for that. And if not, where is it going to come from? So, again, I was wondering why the village board is proposing this commission now when the board is in the middle of a study to dissolve the police department and is looking to have a vote in the upcoming election next March on that matter, because we're trying to wrap that up by November. That was the goal at meetings that we've been having with Mr. Weidman's office. So, again, wondering why. So, what's going to happen to this commission if and when the village dissolves the department? Is this commission going to have any say over the town should they decide to take it over? I don't know. Does the village even have that authority? So it would be a question that I would ask. The next one would be the town of Highlands. In the town of Highlands, the article stated that this commission is, and I quote, an additional oversight over the police department to get more work done. Again, going back to, if you're looking to get more work done, so why aren't we having a commission for all the other departments also? Or is this the only department that you feel isn't getting enough work done? And if so, if the board could inform the public as to what is meant by more work in that statement. And what are you talking about? Is the more work in the patrol, is it dispatch, or is it something else? Another question would be, also in a portion of the resolution that I read, shown in the Highlands paper states that the justification for the commission is, again, and I quote, "to achieve the economies needed to justify the continuation of a police department operated by the village." So I was just hoping that you could elaborate as to what is meant by the justification to the continuation of a police department operated by the village. That sounds like the commission's looking to get rid of the police department. I don't know, maybe, that's why I was hoping I could get it elaborated on. Number 8 would be, is the village aware of any other villages in New York State that have such commissions to oversee their departments? And if so, how large is the populations of these villages? And how many employees does that commission, if it is there, do they oversee? So, I realize, the board may not have time to answer all these questions tonight. So, and it's such short notice. So I would ask the board to either verbally or give a written response to not only these questions that I asked, but all the other questions that you guys are going to have tonight. Thank you.
Jim DeSalvo.
Thanks. Hi, Jim DeSalvo, 20 Villa Parkway. A couple questions I had, and I do want to take a moment to thank Trustee Mellon and Trustee Alward. We did speak briefly on this topic, and I appreciate their time. My questions, just have a few because they are some repetitive of tonight and very good questions from the folks that spoke so far. The selection process for the commissioners, is it a resume that's sent in? Is it an ad in the paper that the village will take out? Is there a certain amount of time period that you'd like to get this off and running? Does that limit the process on when you would appoint these commissioners? And if so, is there an interview process? What is the actual overall process? Number 2, as it was mentioned, the Village of Highland Falls did spend approximately $20,000 on a study for consolidation of the potential consolidation of the police department and DPW. And I believe that the draft study will be completed this week and should be on your folks' desks, at least at the committee level of the consolidation. So I would suspect we'd want to probably look at that study before we make any determinations about adding any other level of bureaucracy to village government. Number 3, and I didn't get my hands on it, and I do apologize to the board, the town of Woodbury has an excellent police commissioners board law, local law. And in fact, I had a great conversation with one of the council members over the weekend, and the law, basically the nuts and bolts of the law is pretty similar in some of its aspects, but the important thing, which I think is nice for the public, since the majority of the public elects you folks, is that all the town board members are members of the police commission. So you don't have to worry about going through an interview process and selecting some other members in another county like Ulster County or Rockland County, and they're not members of the public. And that way there's a little bit of accountability on the public side because, like I said, we elect you folks, and technically you can write the law to make all you folks part of that commission. And I'll, as soon as I get my hands on the law, I'll forward it to you, Elise, if that's okay. And number 4, there was a comment or a question brought up about the size of our community versus like Woodbury, which is probably 4 times our size, maybe more.
That was the town of Woodbury?
Town of Woodbury, yes.
Not
Yeah.
the village of Woodbury?
No, because the town police department is actually controlled by the town of Woodbury. Anyway, our size. So I actually was able to call the New York Conference of Mayors. And I just asked a brief question. It was very general in the sense of communities our size, where we have 3,600 people in the village of Highland Falls. Do you see it? Is it something common that you'd have a police commission? And the answer I pretty much got back was no. It's not something that's common. So I understand maybe where you folks are going, but I think at the end of the day, we elect you trustees to do this part, and I think you could probably draft a law where it gives you guys a little more authority in the department, and you folks can make the decisions. And I think it gives the public a little more accountability because we elect you folks. Thank you.
Chief Scott, Village of Highland Falls Police Department. An answer to the gentleman's question is I'm just as in the dark as anyone else, so I'm just
kind of laying back and trying to figure out what is the purpose of this Board of Police Commissioners. I've never heard of one in a community this size, so I'm just curious to hear some of the answers to these questions.
Is that it? At this time, we're going to leave the hearing open. No?
You don't have to, I mean, unless someone else wants to speak.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to the board. You can either close it, or you can leave it open till the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. I wasn't sure if there was more comment. You good?
I think that I'd like to hear some, I'd like to address some of the questions that maybe make them next meeting.
That's what I was
Is
thinking.
that okay?
Yeah.
You okay with, I'm hoping everybody's okay with
Can we
that?
close it and we can answer questions, or do you have to leave it open?
Leave it open?
You don't have to leave it open to answer questions. You can
Right.
close the public hearing. You can either answer questions now, you can answer questions at the next meeting.
Okay,
You
that's
can leave it
actually, yeah.
open and answer, I mean, it's
Actually,
completely
yeah,
up to the
that's,
board.
thank you for clarifying that. I'd like to close the public hearing, and then we will give answers to questions
Okay.
at the next meeting.
So you need a motion to
With
close.
that, do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we will have these questions answered to you by our next meeting. All righty? Treasurer's report.
Okay, good evening, Board. Treasurer's report for May. Revenue and expense reports have been provided to the board members for the last month's activities and then the annual activities, which is 11 months. 2015 year-end bills and claims submission deadline, requesting for the 23rd of May. That gives us about a week to process and start to close out the books for fiscal year 2015-16. I'd like to have the board consider a year-end bills and claims meeting on Thursday, the 26th. I understand that the time needs to still be worked out. If we're able to have it in the evening, that would be preferred. If not, and during the day, then certainly that's up to the board's discretion. But we do want to try to get a good jump on getting the books for the year closed out as soon as possible.
This is the audit or the bills and claims?
This is for bills and claims, and then what I'd like to follow that meeting with is a review of last year's fiscal audit, which overall was good, but there is some management's particulars that I just want to review, just so you're informed on the performance, fund balances, and overall spending for the year. Okay?
Date on that again? Ed?
I'm sorry?
Date on that again?
The 26th, Thursday, the 26th. Okay, so,
Let me just get back and we'll get back to Gina on that as far as availability. If we can do that. I can't. Which is,
you can do during the day, though?
I can do during the day. You want to do something in the morning? Bob?
Thursday the 26th, you're saying?
26th, Thursday, the 26th.
What, first thing, or? Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, 8 o'clock?
That's fine. Brian?
Yeah.
Not sure?
Okay, 8 a.m.?
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. Next, Public Works, Department of Public Works contract negotiations. They were kind of at a pause for a while. There has been some discussion with the attorney, and the negotiating team for management is requesting a follow-on meeting to make a formal offer on the particulars of the financials related to the contract. Trustee Mellon, I understand you'll be contacting the attorney?
I did tonight
You
when I
did?
got home, yeah.
Okay, so the next step for us is to make that formal offer, and then depending on the results of that, we'll determine whether or not we continue bargaining or some other result. Okay? 2016-17 budget obviously is complete. The final filings are in process, filing with the Office of State Comptroller, the official budget certified, as well as the tax cap has been filed, constitutional tax limit, and the tax freeze paperwork, which is due in June. So all that is being processed, and we should be complete with that in the next 2 weeks. Fiscal audit meeting with the auditors this week to just discuss the overall findings. A little later this year, just because of a lot of, with the auditors, just a lot of work that they've had, and I kind of told them I was willing to, hold off a little bit and then do it a little bit later in the year. But the overall, the quick look at it is good. The only thing that's really under pressure with all villages and towns is the tax cap is making it very difficult to maintain spending levels as well as maintain fund balances. And I'll give a thorough review of fund balances when we meet on Thursday to discuss it. And the New York class accounts, these statements are available. And I have on the itinerary for today, the agenda, a determination of are we going to fully fund the reserve funds based on the budget or some hybrid of that. And based on your response on that, I'll prepare paperwork for the final bills and claims meeting to make those transfers based on the board's decisions. Okay. Any questions related to the Treasury?
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. EDC. At the end.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and trustees. I am Barbara Minetti, village resident, 11 Locust Street, here tonight on behalf of the Economic Development Corporation wing that's dealing with business revitalization and development in downtown. And two of our committee members are here, Stephen Evans and Mary Ellen Olivia. We are very pleased tonight to announce that the village has the opportunity to apply for a grant. It is a downtown revitalization initiative that is being offered through the Mid-Hudson region of the Economic Development Councils. This is a large grant opportunity with many resources and agencies that would be available to help us in actually designing, planning, and implementing. The grant is actually a great opportunity because it is non-specific and we have a lot of latitude in what we ask for. We don't have to have every nickel and dime or even any costs really laid out. We have to show readiness and a very clear vision that we can accomplish what the grant offers. We're here tonight because we would like to ask the village to establish an authorization and for the village to approve submitting this grant. It will need to be submitted by the village as a government entity. At the same time, we are secondly asking that the EDC, our group, can write the grant. We have been given information by the Mid-Hudson Region Economic Development Councils as well as the Office of Planning and Development of the Department of State that our committee can oversee carrying the grant out. It would be, of course, in terms of the grant, what the grant terms are and the EDC articles of incorporation that have been defined by and approved by the village trustees. So There are 8 specific criteria for the grant, and briefly, I'll just say what they're looking for, in a nutshell, is to increase economic development. They want a place where people will want to raise their families, have an economy that prospers year-round, produce job growth, create economic diversity in terms of job types as well as skill levels, and everything from entry to professional education. And the overall goal is to help the economy in New York State. We are, to me, the unpolished jewel. We're right here on the eastern part of Orange County. There are many ways, I think, as small as we are, we can, we have so much to offer, and I think with this grant, we can, it's going to be tough competition, but we will put our best foot forward and try our best. The scope of the geographical scope has to be clearly identified. So what we're identifying is, we're calling downtown everything from Thayer Gate all the way to Main Street, where it connects with 9W, then West Point Highway, going all the way up to Mountain Avenue, and the areas surrounding that. Other specific areas can be encircled and included in that, they just have to be identified. And so what we would plan to do with this is not ask for things that we could get through other sources like a CFA grants or things that other groups are already looking into. If it would dovetail with really getting things done, maybe, but we would want to make the most of this money. If you like, I could say some of the criteria, but what I would like to do is use this as an opportunity to let the community know the deadline for this is May 27th, which is only a week from today. We really have had short notice on this opportunity ourselves. But I would recommend, if this would work, and preferably in writing, if residents have any input, to address it to the EDC on behalf of the mayor and submit it to Village Hall. And if you have contact information, let us know. We'll be looking at lots of really good sources. We've had professional studies for the village done 1960s, late 60s, 77, I think early 90s, latest one 2009. And there are a lot of consistent things. So we'll be looking to start with that and do the major foundational things that can help us grow.
So you need us to sign off on the fact that we're moving forward with the grant?
Yes, it needs an authorization. I would think as the government entity that it will be, it was actually necessary, and there was information, it was necessary to do a preliminary authorization on Friday, and all it had to do was say we intend. It wasn't any obligation even to do it. We intend to apply for a grant in the name of the Village of Highland Falls. Contact, we put the mayor, and it would be for one municipality, the village. That's what was submitted on.
So I just have a couple questions, if it pleases the board. So this is a grant that, who would get the money? The village?
The village would get
Okay.
the money.
And you're seeking 10 million or some portion of 10 million?
It's actually a $10 million grant. And it's so wonderful because I said it's non-specific in terms of, no median income, no this, no that. So yes, the village, a governmental entity, does need to receive the money.
So the application is really on behalf of the village?
Yes.
And the EDC would prepare the application. You're seeking authorization from the board for the mayor to sign the application so that you can submit it?
Yes, and it would be submitted no later than 4 o'clock on the 27th of this month.
And have you started preparing the application, or you're going to be doing that?
Yes, we have, to the best we can. We're gathering information. There are 8 specific criteria, and we started compiling that, and we'll have a work session tomorrow to do that.
And so if you get a portion or all of the 10 million, you would request that the board allow you to administer it pursuant to there are a lot of rules and regulations
Right.
when the state gives out money.
Right, so it would be according to what the Department of State authorizes an EDC to do, and it would be according, of course, their terms, and the articles of incorporation for the EDC are laid out, but then it would also be subject to that as well.
Any contributions from the village on this grant, Barb?
No, it's totally
I didn't see
a
anything.
$10 million
Okay.
grant that is 100%. And $300,000 of it would be to send in planning designers, architects, engineers, specialists to actually help us write up and develop the plans to be implemented.
So it's not a matching grant.
No.
No, it's really a unique opportunity. The workshop about this grant program was last week. It's got a very short window of opportunity, but it is a process. It's an 8-page application, which is wonderful, although one of the other aspects of this grant program is that it has to be transformational. So it's just ready-made for this community, but it will be extremely competitive. We're up against the cities in Orange County and throughout the Hudson Valley.
It's everything from Albany down minus New York City.
And then the Regional Economic Development Council will winnow down a select group, and then we would have to go for an interview process, at which point I think we can nail it. So we're going to give it a good shot.
Yes. Charlie Murphy and 2 other of our EDC members went to Middletown last week, and I went to the same one on Kingston 2 weeks ago. So I think we have our marching orders if we get the authorization.
There you go. Yeah?
Yeah, I would just revise this a little bit, this resolution, if you want me to read it.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, the EDC suggested a resolution for the board. It's fine. I would just make a couple changes. And the name of it is the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees supporting and concurring in the application of $10 million grant from the Mid-Hudson region of the New York State Economic Development Council. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls actively pursues grant opportunities, and whereas the village seeks funds for the MHR EDC Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and whereas the application must be submitted by May 27, 2016 to be eligible for consideration of this grant, now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to execute the grant application for a $10 million grant from the Mid-Hudson region of New York State Economic Development Council, and further authorizes the Highland Falls EDC to prepare the grant application for the mayor's signature. Is that okay?
And of course, input is invited.
First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for all the work you're being put in and for attending those meetings. This is exactly what we talked about 3 years ago, and it's taken a little while to get it off the ground, but I really think we're moving forward. I'm excited. The board,
Thank you. I make a motion.
I have a motion, I have a second. Roll call?
I did.
Fine.
Roll call, trustee Mel?
Aye.
Trustee Alward?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Quinn?
Aye.
A quick question to Barbara. I know in the initial 8-pager, it doesn't call for letters of support, but at what point do we start sending those in?
Right. They did tell us we can send links to letters of support, but that they really don't want to read them. So they really, so much said you're wasting your words. They said you might want to use your, each word of your 8 pages differently.
But I think at some point later on, they
The
do
interview,
want it.
we
Okay.
will need and will be reaching out for letters of support. They want community groups, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, faith-based groups, volunteer groups, Chamber of Commerce, West Point. So I can make this a public announcement for that too. Please be ready if you're called upon to do that. And the interview, they said, if we are fortunate to do that, will be on very short notice. So the minute we get the application in, and hopefully even in between, we can just, be assuming that and be ready.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Fire.
Oh, fire. I spoke to Gary Boyce earlier. He has not as yet looked at the Fort Montgomery vehicle that Fort Montgomery graciously has offered to the Highland Falls Fire Department. The one big announcement is the carnival is going to be in June this year. It will start at 6 p.m. on June 1st and run each night until June 4th, at which time it closes at 10 p.m. And Friday, if the weather holds out, there will be fireworks. The rain date will be the following Saturday. But hopefully we'll have 4 glorious days of good weather.
Sweet.
And it's in Fickensfield. Oh, I didn't see that. Thanks. In your mailboxes, there should be a very extensive letter from Eric Smith, the chief, about the number of alarms this past month, which was 14. And the Highland Falls Fire Department traveled to West Point and utilized their training building, which was a nice collaborative effort. We have one junior firefighter who is attending Firefighter 1 class. New ropes are in service on engine 429. 428 is going in for repairs. In fact, Gary asked me about this morning. A tire chain damaged the exterior of the wheel well. Very interesting. The work is in progress on the siren, and we should have it back in service within 2 weeks.
Excellent.
Some other details that about booster coverage for cellular. And, pardon? I'm looking quickly. I apologize, I didn't see this. I do know that the chief also went last Tuesday for a meeting with Orange County about the new communications interoperability. What are the requests?
Additional radios?
Oh, about, will be, yeah, this is the annual request to have permission to bring the utility vehicle number 430 and car 2, which is the assistant chief's car, to the parade. Due to the number of members attending, we will place the West Point Fire Department on automatic response to all calls in Highland Falls during that time period. So I would ask, under new business, that we approve the 2 vehicles going for the parade.
Okay, we have a follow-up on
Murns Avenue request for chickens.
I saw that. I spoke to the building department on that. I don't know if you, I guess you have too, Charlie? or-
Yeah.
They need a 100-foot setback on that, and I guess,
They don't need anything. They need what we tell them to need.
well.
Here's the thing, there's 3
You
chickens
can.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Bruce was saying. He's saying you can't. You
Well-
gotta have like an acre.
Yeah, well, no, he's a 100-foot setback, so yeah, it could be.
I'm saying,
yeah,
depending on where
yeah.
your house is sitting.
Depending on
And
situated, yep.
Bruce said it's almost impossible to do in the majority of places in the village to begin with.
Well, that's kind of
this
by
might have been a
design,
law.
though.
Well,
That's
it might have been a law
It's by
before
design,
it built
yeah,
up.
yeah. Well, usually they do that on more congested areas. They put parameters in for these types of things, so it's not in a congested area. You need more property for chickens, I guess that's what they're trying to do. So if you're going by the building code, it's pretty much saying that the setback doesn't comply. That's the letter I got, so,
And
I saw it.
okay.
moreover, at the last meeting, when this was first brought up, we did inform the Franks that in any kind of urban chicken farming, it's dependent upon getting the neighbors' support.
It's, but not necessarily that. In our remarks was more complaints and support. And to get complaints prior to anything happening, there's no problem. And they just don't want them.
Is it-
If we look at the history of the 3 that have chickens right now, you've had no problems and their yards are much smaller.
But we did turn down a request in Ondeora because the neighbors objected.
And on Cousin Street, we turned it down too.
I thought the language was objected, not complaint.
I'm not sure, when I look at it, and again, it's how we want it done. Understand that, we can make it 20 feet, we can make it 1,000 feet, just like we did with the towers, cell towers. We can make it 40 feet, we can make it 500 feet. But when I looked at this and I thought about it, for someone to say I don't want it before it even comes into their yard, so if let's say hypothetically, 2 neighbors don't get along, right off the bat, you negated any factor of them having an opportunity for this. Though they might be phenomenal at raising chickens, it would never affect the neighbor. They wouldn't know it was there. We're not doing roosters. But if there was a complaint, chickens got into his yard, they're loud, they're smelly, it's an eyesore, different story. Then to me, the neighbor has an obviously, you have a thing. Then that's where you would have to get down. That's what, the last time we talked, that's where I thought we were going, was you have the opportunity to put it up. If there are any problems, understand it'll be immediately, you have to immediately take it down. That's, when we did give the one, not the one on Murns now, but the other one, that's what the language was that I remember. And again, it's up to us. If you feel that way, that's fine. But I don't feel that we should shut someone down without an opportunity.
I love chickens and ducks, but my reading of the code, Elise, do you have a copy of the code book there?
Just give it to me. Is it in the zoning law?
I think it is.
There are 2 portions of the code.
There's a code right there. If you just hand me the green book.
One deals with the distances, and then an earlier section under animal husbandry or some such thing. We need to know if it says complaint or objection.
Yeah, let me take a look.
Do you have, I think, does he have the article? Review and section, you want to need the article, please?
And 240A7.
Okay, wait, 53 what?
13.
And 240A7.
I understand what you're saying, Charlie, but the other 2 that we approved don't have those setbacks. That's what I'm saying. We made a decision as a board to give them that opportunity, that's all I'm saying. So, and again, going with the history, there hasn't been a problem.
All right, 5313 says that no person shall hereafter keep or house horses, cattle, sheep, swine, or any animal other than cats or other pets within the limits of the Village of Highland Falls without permission of the village board, and no permission is required for cats and household pets. Permission shall be revocable at any time if it appears from neighbors or otherwise that the keeping of the animals in question is objectionable or offensive by reason of noise, smell, or other cause. This section shall have no application to such public pound, okay? All right, so that, to me, says, the way I interpret that is that no one can keep ducks and chickens or any other non-pet type animal without your permission, which can be revocable if it appears from neighbors or otherwise that the keeping of those animals, meaning they're there, is objectionable or offensive. So my legal opinion is more in line with the mayor's interpretation. Now, let me just look at 740A7.
Which is rare.
240. 240 dash what? No, it's missing something. It's 240 dash something A7. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can find that. Since it's in the zoning law, it's likely a setback that does require 100 feet. If you don't have 100 feet, you need a variance, an area variance, but let me just find the section. Okay. 240-30A7. It applies to all forms of animal husbandry except, of course, pets. And it says that all shelters provided for livestock, fowl, or fur-bearing animals shall be kept at least 100 feet from any property line, except that an existing shelter may remain and be added to, provided that the additions shall not encroach in that 100 feet. And that, so if the shelter, wherever the pen is, has to be 100 feet from any property line, if it isn't, then that person needs an area variance.
He doesn't have that.
Then he needs an area variance. So.
What about the ones we already gave permission to?
Well, it depends on when you did that. Whether they were pre-existing, I don't know the details of those, so I really can't answer that question.
So they need to go to the zoning board.
They need a ZBA variance, that is correct. So did that answer your question?
Now, my question is, as long as you get the ZBA variance, are you okay with following the code as far as waiting for a complaint before telling them we can't have it? There's no reason to go for a variance if we're not going to let them have it according to code.
Well, my sense was, is it better to prevent the expenditure of funds on a chicken coop now, or, have people build a facility for their chickens and then have the neighbor refile a complaint that he objects?
Complaint's gotta be a complaint. It can't be just, I don't like chickens. It's got, as it's written in the code, smell, look.
Specifics?
Specifics are specifics, and they have to be justified. If the building, it's not like we're gonna get a letter saying chickens are horrible and they smell bad, I need them off the property. The building inspector just doesn't go, okay, you have to give her your coop. He needs to go up there like any other complaint. and make sure that it's justified. That's like saying, you need to tow 60 cars of this person's property because they're not working. He needs to go and make sure they're not working. We need to make sure they're not registered, things like that. So it's not just and that's why we have the building inspector. If he goes up there and he says, that does smell, it is unsightly, then that's on him, and that's his job.
I like the idea that it should go through the proper channels, the building department, the ZBA, because it's not something that we should be making a decision on. I just always felt that way on this matter. I remember we had the therapeutic pig. It's just.
People like pigs.
I don't know. I think that, let's send them to
Well,
the.
that's fine. I mean, if we're
Yeah.
following code, again,
Yeah, let's-
the building inspector will make sure that if that's done properly on that code.
I just
Second,
want to
go to
be
CBA.
fair to the
Right.
family, that they don't go to a lot of
Well,
expense.
we will let them know now that they have to go to the ZBA.
They take their shot at the ZBA.
First of all, they know.
Okay.
The family knows that there's not happy days. They roll the dice like everybody else.
No guarantees. You may not, they may not get approval.
Right.
That's a pretty substantial, what did he say, that they were about 150 foot wide, 160 foot wide, they need 100 on each side? ZBA may not give them that, I don't know.
Right.
That's up to them.
Then they all need to be examined, even the ones that got permission before. You can't have a zoning law for this one and not for the others.
I think the policy should be, go to the building department.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we shouldn't be, I don't like getting involved in those,
Well, one,
I know.
we approved it. They bought it on our approval. Let's let them go to the building department and the ZBA and go through the process.
It was contingent upon approval.
Yeah.
Or vote, yeah.
Okay? Anything else? Before we go to new business, just a couple of announcements. Trustee Farina is not well. That's why he's not here tonight. I just want to make that announcement. Also, our local Cub Scouts, our Weeblos, did their crossover this past week. We have 4 Cub Scouts joining the Boy Scout program. An excellent program. You don't have to be in it in the beginning to join. You could join at any age throughout the whole Boy Scout process. So I just want to put it out there that it's a great group, and we have a great organization right here in the town. So if you are looking for information about Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts, just give us a call. Give me a call over at Village Hall. Also, the Deputy Garrison Commander, Tom Cohen, I believe that we have a very good group between the superintendent and the garrison commander, but the deputy garrison commander really rounds it out well. I just wanted to make 2 comments. It's tough to move government, as we all know, and it's tougher when you're dealing with government within the military. They say yes. Rarely you actually get the yes to follow through. But in this case, with 2 phone calls, Deputy Garrison Commander Tom Cohen, with one was concern about our local food industries that want to deliver onto West Point during graduation. Last year, there was a memo that went out that said there will be no deliveries during the graduation period and 2 hours after. For many of the food establishments, they need to be delivering during graduation, so everything's set up and ready to go. So that was a problem. We dealt with it. It was a miscommunication. They meant large trucks. They meant 18-wheelers and delivery trucks, things like that, not the vans and cars that deliver the food from our restaurants to West Point. The exact same letter came out again. Now, last year it was a problem because they were being stopped at the gate, and we had to actually go down and take care of it, and there were issues. But we were helped out. This year, the same letter went out. We received a phone call from one of our food establishments, and within 5 minutes, Mr. Cohen said he will take care of it. And 2 days later, he called me and asked me if we need it in writing for all our delivery people, and that was done today. And I want to thank him for his immediate response. On top of that, for many years, we have been getting meter readings for South Post. Basically, they give us the meter reading. They tell us what the meter is, which really the customer is telling you what they're paying. That's just the way it was. It's the way it's always been. And it's frustrated the departments that we didn't have a more accurate way to read the meters. Again, with a call to Mr. Cohen, a master meter is now being looked at and being put in next to McDonald's, going into the South Post area. And again, I can't thank him enough. These are small victories, and I look forward to many more. Also, just an update for those people that were keeping an eye on the Home Depot grant that was asked for by Kathy Keene. She approached Home Depot a couple months ago. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, a group looked over Memorial Park, which is the area that Home Depot is going to help us revitalize. We've just been informed that all the approvals have gone through their corporate, and that will be happening within approximately 2 weeks. So they will be coming into the village, and right now the preliminary look is they're going to repaint the gazebo. They're going to help us with 1 or 2 walkways. They're going to bring in a ton of plants and a few other improvements. So we're very happy to have them, and I look forward to that.
She did a nice job.
She did do a great job.
Did a great job.
We have a few events coming up. Memorial Day, the Memorial Day ceremony will be Monday, May 30th. And this is the first year that the American Legion is taking over that ceremony. I wish them good luck. And we're hoping that everyone takes some time out on this day. It's 9 a.m. Start your day off right on Memorial Day. Come to the ceremony and pay your respects. Also, Rolling Thunder is coming through on June 12th, approximately noon, right on Main Street. Come out and support the Rolling Thunder. We have a nice short 10-minute ceremony at Memorial Park. And on July 23rd, the Freedom Ride. It was the second annual Freedom Ride. Mario Scalaro is organizing that right now. He is looking for sponsors for banners. So if you are, I can get you that information right directly to Mario Scalaro. It's a great group, veterans that do a Freedom Ride and sponsored here in the village. And on June 25th is the Cancer Bike Ride. Very large event. It's going to be very good. It's going to, again, the main portion of it is right here in the village at Lot 2. They're going to do several routes, and that is June 25th. There's opportunities to volunteer and be a part of that. It's an excellent national organization that's coming in and is going to be running that event. And the only other events that I would like to promote are the local games, the local softball and baseball and other athletic activities. We're going to try and get them more publicized so that not necessarily just the parents know when the activities are coming, so more of our community members may come up and enjoy themselves at these events. Moving on to new business. I need a motion to approve as written, regular board meeting, May 3rd, 2016, a special meeting, May 3rd, 2016. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Have a resolution. Resolution.
You got it?
No, sorry. Thank you. A resolution for the unpaid sewer bill for June and December 2015, whereas the Village of Highland Falls has 218 delinquent sewer accounts in the amount of $104,656.16 remaining unpaid, including late fees and charges from the June and December 2015 sewer billings. Now, therefore, be it resolved that no further payments will be accepted after May 11, 2016, and any and all unpaid sewer accounts for the year 2015 be re-levied under the 2016-17 village taxes. The adoption of the foregoing resolution was moved by Trustee Murphy and seconded by Trustee Mellon. Roll call.
Trustee Mellon?
Aye.
Trustee Alward?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Flynn?
Aye. We have a resolution to ratify the name change, LDC to EDC. It's just a formality because we didn't do it officially. Whereas, by a majority of vote of the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees at a regularly scheduled public meeting held on November 2nd, 2015, the Village Board created the Highland Falls Local Development Corporation, FLADC, and whereas immediately prior to the regular Village Board meeting on December 7th, 2015, the Village Attorney informed the Village Board that the Department of State, DOS, has rejected the certificate of incorporation for the HFLDC because the certificate of corporation was issued to a corporation in 2004 with the identical name, whereupon a majority of the Village Board of Trustees informally agreed to change the name of the aforementioned Local Development Corporation to Highland Falls Economic Development Corporation, HFEDC, and instructed the village attorney to revise and refile the certificate of incorporation with the DOS as the Highland Falls Economic Development Corporation. And whereas no formal vote was taken on December 7, 2015, meeting to change the name of the Development Corporation to HFLDC to HFEDC, and whereas by a letter dated April 26, 2016, the HFEDC was certified by the Department of State, and whereas by letter dated May 5, 2016, the New York State Authorities Budget Office requested clarification of the Village Board action as to the name change. Now therefore be resolved that the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees hereby ratifies the change of name from Highland Falls Local Development Corporation to Highland Falls Economic Development Corporation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mellon, do I have a second? Brian Alward, roll call.
Trustee Mellon?
Aye.
Trustee Alward? Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Coon?
Aye. Take a breath. Everyone can smile. We're all happy to be here. Love it. I'm just looking out. Good smiles. Thank you. Thank you for the smile. I appreciate it. We're having a good time. It's 8:20. All right, moving on. Surplus speed bumps. Hot item. I have a letter here from Gary. He's requesting the village board surplus speed bumps that cannot be used in the street department to be resold when the opportunity presents itself. Thank you, Gary. Any comments? No?
Yeah.
Bob?
I did this, delinquent sewer bills, 218 delinquencies.
Seriously, we're on speed bumps. man.
I'm still amazed that seems, that's a big number.
That was like two things ago.
I'm still chewing on that, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I'm with you.
It just, it seems like, 218 delinquent sewer bills.
It's a lot.
That's a whole lot.
It's not a big deal. It's reliving on their taxes. We'll get it.
I know, but it seems like, that's a number that's probably twice what it should be. Gina, do you have?
No, it's pretty normal.
Is it really? That,
Sewer?
okay, that seems like a whole lot.
It is a whole lot, but that's pretty normal.
Okay,
It's like a gift later.
yeah, okay, just, all right.
Back to speed bumps.
Listen,
Okay.
Bob is still engrossed. Give him a minute.
Okay,
Bob, you good on speed bumps?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, we're on speed bumps.
Okay.
Charlie?
It's always been my understanding that it's a liability for municipalities to use them, so if we can get rid of them, let's sell them. Do we need to
Need a
make a motion? Motion to
Surplus.
get rid of them if the opportunity presents itself.
I'd like to surplus them out when the opportunity
Second.
presents itself, Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have a resignation request from purchasing clerk Sue Bunty, effective May 31st, 2016. I need a motion to accept the request with a great regret. She's an excellent asset in our office.
Nice lady.
and She will be missed. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, we accept Sue's resignation.
Second. Trustee Murphy? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I said it right, resigning, right? Reserve fund transfer to class action account, $65,000. It's not 200 sewer accounts, but it's a nice number. Bob, you okay with it?
Yes, I am.
All right. Do I have a motion
You do?
to transfer the funds to the class account for $65,000? Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Budget transfers. Treasury salary OT to treasury salary, $2,250. Balance payroll accounts for the treasury. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can't even, treasurer contractual audit to treasurer salary, $1,000. Balance payroll account for treasurer. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a request for the contingent account to the street administrative salary, $7,300, to balance payroll account for the DPW supervisor. Do I have a motion?
You do.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We need to set the end of the year special meeting for bills and claims. I think we did that,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Make-
Let's do a motion, why not?
Okay.
I move, need a motion that we set the special meeting for bills and claims Thursday, the 26th at 8
A.M.
a.m.
Can it be 8:30?
Yeah, sure.
8:30 a.m. Charlie wins. Nice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I need a motion for the bills and claims for the fiscal year 15-16 in the amount of $44,245.96. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
May I make a motion that we allow the fire department to take truck 430 and car 2 to the big parade up north? No, it's, Lake George, thank you.
That's close.
You're going to give me a hard time. These are the old vehicles.
I didn't say anything. You're asking for a motion. Do you have a motion? No, we met earlier. We're not going to give her.
June 16th through the 19th.
We knew she was going to make a motion. We're not giving it to her. I have a motion. I'll second it.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Also, last thing, Kathy Keene is also working on a program, Taking Back the Block. And she'll be putting stuff out on Channel 23 and in the community about that, about improving our streets block by block, kind of a challenge out to the different blocks in the village. With that, board comment. Anything? No? No. Public comment. Anything?
Oh, just a
Yes.
quickie. The chief and I attended a meeting at O&R earlier this week, or last week.
Right.
And it was about emergency preparedness for major storms and events such as that. And the one thing that I came away with was the importance to try to pursue those cell towers, because a lot of the communication is dependent upon being able to have contact by cell phone. So I would just throw that out to the board to stay on top of.
That company is still in the process of putting together a presentation for us, and they will be doing a study with the one area they're looking at, and we're actually hoping there'll be a secondary area that, available.
Just elaborate just a little bit. They have a CRT team, a community response team that stations here, and they serve other communities, so we always like that to the backup, so if Time Warner goes out, Verizon goes out, cell service is important. They test at least once a year, each year.
They have a CRT team?
Yeah, they call it CRT.
It's based here?
Yeah, based right in police headquarters.
There
Oh,
are,
okay.
there are only 14 in the region, and we're one of them, partially because we are so isolated.
Yeah, we established that relationship a few years ago. It's pretty vital.
Excellent. Good to go? No?
My name's Joan Cronin. I want to know from the village board what you're going to do about the senior building. We are the forgotten people in this community. They're working on everything else, and you can't get into the center. Several times we try to get together and to get in, and first they said about calling the cops, and they would open the door. That's fine, but it's not the cop's job.
Actually, it is.
Well, we had an experience where we were waiting there for almost 45 minutes, and the cops were busy. They couldn't come. You need to hire a coordinator to run. All over the country, all the seniors, they have coordinators, and that's how it runs. And well, we haven't
Have you
been
been to the town board?
Pardon?
Have you been to the town board?
No, I haven't.
Okay. As we have said in the past, the village went ahead and purchased the building with grant money. We've also put village tax dollars, quite a bit, into it. We've also accumulated 2 more grants that we're putting into the building. We're putting more into the senior building and the senior program, senior building, than most other areas that we've done. But this is not a village effort. The building itself, we own. We have to own it, 10 years,
Yeah.
no matter what. If we consolidate, possibly you can give it to the town. We have to see about that. Senior programming is a town program, not a village program. There's been nothing here in the village, and if you're asking us to create a new position that will cost the village between $30,000 and $100,000, depending on the cost of the person, insurance, benefits, and what else, we have not prepared for that, nor should we, when we have what most other communities do utilize, and that is a recreation department, and that is where we've said for a while now, and it seems that everyone wants to come back to the village, though we've made it clear, no one seems to want to go to the town and ask for assistance when this is a town-wide program, not a village program.
Legally, you cannot have the recreation department in that building, an office.
I didn't say that. I said they would be in charge of the program.
They cannot. We have nothing. There's nothing being used down there. And last week, we wanted to get in Thursday and we couldn't get in.
It's my understanding that Aaron actually has a key and is working with making himself available to open up the building. Have you touched base with Aaron?
They said they did. And
Who did?
The girls said they called. Yeah. So I wasn't there, but.
Well, we're reaching out on a regular, and we've been working from day one to work with the town to come up with a program.
Well, when
It is a town-wide, you need to go to the town board, and you need to bring other people that want to do this to
you
the town
own
board.
the building.
Yes, we do.
There is no stove in that kitchen. The bathroom, the handicapped bathroom, has got a big hole in one side, another one in there. It's got a big sink there. We have nothing.
You have a nice building that we have a $100,000 grant. As soon as the other piece comes available, actually, the village board has made a decision to move forward with the $50,000 grant to do everything we can to renovate the bathrooms. This is money for the senior center and money for senior programming was never in the budget. We have beefed up senior programming and the building funds quite a bit over the last 3 years. Wasn't in there before that. The village didn't donate to the seniors. We do now.
The parking lot is in bad shape.
Gary Boyce is well aware of the parking lot and has taken care of it. It's in his schedule. You're more than welcome to check with him. Give him a call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Jim DeSalvo, 20 Villa Parkway. I just want to wish Sue Bunty very well. She was a real asset for the village, and wish her well in her retirement or her exodus, whatever the case may be. And I also want to wish Ms. Maneni good luck on that grant. We've gotten it in the past, and it did a lot of good things. So I wish you luck, and if anything I can do to help you, please don't hesitate. Thanks.
Any other public comment? With that, I would ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Second?
Go to second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.